Yo, welcome in. Eagles Postgame Live, A to Z Sports, Philadelphia. The Philadelphia Eagles squeaked by the Patriots with a 25-20 Week 1 thriller. Obviously, the hearts of Eagle fans are beating right now. The hearts of Philadelphia Eagle fans are beating out of their chests because that game should not have been that close. There is no reason that game should have came down to the way it did. There were some positives in this game. There was a great start to this game, but in totality, you cannot play like that against a bad subpar team, let alone a good team, if you expect to go far into a season and win big-time playoff games. Now, again, it's week 1. There's time to wipe off the rust. There's time to make corrections and get things on the same page. But holy crap, that was an ugly, ugly game. There is a lot that needs to be fixed. And look, man, every year in the NFL is a new opportunity. It's a new chance. It's a different team. It's a different season, different momentum. And the Philadelphia Eagles are in for a reality check if they do not wake up and correct these things. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? They play in 4 days. They go up against the Minnesota Vikings on Thursday Night Football. If they don't correct some of the things that we saw here today, they're going to get their ass kicked. Simple as that. Man, I mean, I was very underwhelmed by this performance. I was very underwhelmed. I thought that there was a lot that I feel like we didn't see. We didn't get the opportunity to see. We'll go through the stats. We'll run through it all. But I want to ask the people out there tuning in. Once again, we are live right now. Thank you for being here. I want to ask the people right now, what is your main takeaway from that game? Do you think it's a rust factor? Do you think it's a matter of just not playing the starters in the preseason? Do you think it's the coordinators? Do you think the Eagles are just missing something? What was it from that week 1 win? Obviously a tough one on the road, sloppy, bad weather going up against Bill Belichick. It's not going to be easy, but you literally jumped out in this game and had a 16-0 lead. You should have blew it out of the water. Instead, we're there, wiping sweat off our face with 2 minutes to go. And man, there were just some really, really bad decisions down the stretch. Wow. I did not expect it to go that way. I did not expect it to go that way. What I will say, though, is, man, they got to clean this up. They got to clean this up because that is not acceptable. That is not acceptable. Give me your one takeaway, your one word. Give me your confidence level in the Philadelphia Eagles after week 1. Are you not bothered at all? Do you not care at all? What is it? What is it? Give me your thoughts down in the comments section. Before we jump into the stats, before I jump into my main takeaways, let's give a quick shout out to our sponsor here of today's post-game show, BetMGM. Ladies and gentlemen, be sure to enjoy all your favorite sports like never before at BetMGM. Sign up using the code ATOZPA. Go download their app right now. Bonus code ATOZPA. Receive up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. And when you register with BetMGM, you will get instant access to parlay selection, features, live betting options, player props, and daily boosted odds specials. There's a ton of boosts going on right now in week 1. Players around the league are going nuts right now. I bet, a lot of players you don't even expect. So ton of odds out there, ton of boosts. BetMGM right at your fingertips. Every play and every game matter more than ever. Find out why BetMGM is the king of sportsbook. Sign up today with bonus code ATOZPA and get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. All right, man, let's talk about this game because I got to go off, man. I got to go off. First and foremost, all right? First and foremost, let's talk about the way that this game ended, right? We could talk about getting out to a 16-0 lead. We could talk about, coming out aggressive in the first possession, getting a pick 6 and doing this and that. The fact of the matter is there's no reason, right? And Bill Belichick, and I got the notes here because I wanted to make sure I don't misquote this. I want to make sure I don't misquote this, okay? There's about 10, 11 minutes left in this game. And Bill Belichick, for some reason, the Patriots were down 8, I believe. I believe they were down 8. And Bill Belichick elected not to go for a field goal. They were inside the Eagles' 20. And I feel like Belichick thought the game was over. But little did he know, they end up coming back down the field. Then they end up going for it on a 4th and 8. And, who was it? Henry, wide open, a one-handed catch. The Eagles, I don't know what happened to this defense in the second half. They're leaving dudes wide open. It felt like all the momentum just got sucked right out of them at halftime. And I thought Sean Desai coached a really good first half. I don't know what they were doing in the second half. Maybe it accumulated from some injuries or whatever, but they could not get a lot of pressure on Mac Jones. And then, a 4th and 11, right? They end up converting, or a 4th and 8 with 11 minutes left. Then it comes down to a 4th and 3, and the Eagles end up getting a stop. They turn it over. Okay, great. Fletcher Cox with a nice contribution, kind of coming off the bench there. We'll talk about Jalen Carter, the rest of this defensive line, but Fletcher Cox with a couple really good plays back-to-back coming in. And then the Patriots end up storming down the field. And again, this Eagles team, it felt like I was watching Jonathan Gannon again. It felt like I was watching Jim Schwartz playing picket defense in the last couple minutes of a game. The Patriots come storming all the way down the field. And then the Patriots end up going for a 2-point conversion after a touchdown. And luckily, they end up getting called for a hold. And then it was back at the 11-yard line. So they end up going for it again. And they don't get it. So now it's a 5-point game. And what do the Philadelphia Eagles have? They have 3 to 4 minutes left. All they have to do is run out the clock. They got to run out the clock. The game's over. And this is on Jalen Hurts. Look, I'm happy that he is the franchise quarterback of this team. I think he's going to shake off the rust because Jalen Hurts missed a couple of great wide open throws in this game. He missed a couple of looks as well. We'll talk about Dallas Goedert not even getting a damn target. But Dallas Goedert was wide open a couple times down the field. Jalen Hurts didn't see him. But Jalen Hurts made a crucial mistake. And I don't even know if I can pin it on him, but I have to a little bit. To me, it's more so on Brian Johnson. I feel like we saw 85 million designed runs for Jalen Hurts today. That cannot happen. But Jalen Hurts tucks it. He runs up the gut. Boom. Head on. Knocks it out. Fumble with 3.5 to go. A better team is going to make you pay for that mistake. The New England Patriots are not that good of a team. They came out hungry. They will come out disciplined being under Bill Belichick. But a better team is going to make you pay. They're going to score off the turnover, and it's not going to be, all pretty like it is right now in terms of getting a W. So Jalen Hurts cannot do that. And then the Eagles get the ball back. They're running the clock down. 2 minutes to go. They're at the 44. It's 4th and 2. Why are you going for it on 4th and 2? I understand. They want to get the first. They want to seal the deal, win the game. Your offense has not been able to put anything together in this game to make me confident in the fact that you can convert a 4th and 2. And what do? You throw an incomplete pass about 7 yards. You give it right back to the Patriots. They come down the field. Here we go. People are sweating. They get down. They convert one. They convert another one. They're down near the red zone. Another 4th down. Couple penalties. 4th and 11. New England throws it. And honestly, the guy almost made a hell of a catch. But his second foot was out. And the Eagles squeak by. But there is no reason that this game should have came down to that. I know I'm ranting here. At the end of the day, a week 1 win is always good. It's good to start off on a good foot. There's always upsets that happen in week 1. You look at Joe Burrow today, what do you have, 80 passing yards? You look at Kirk Cousins, who got upset by Baker Mayfield. There are upsets that happen. However, these things must be corrected. And to me, it wasn't even a rust type of thing. Maybe they were a little bit rusty from not playing in the preseason, but they did the same thing last year. They did the same thing the year before under Nick Sirianni. To me, this is all on coaching. The coaching was not on the same page. And after week 1, let me know in the chat right now, scale of 1 to 10, how concerned are you with the Eagles play calling? Because let me tell you something. If they allow Brian Johnson to continue to call plays, he's got to change it the hell up. What are we doing out here? They didn't throw the ball down the field to the end of the 3rd quarter. Making me lose my mind. You're making me lose my mind, man. You're making me lose my mind. Let me say it again clear for you. Brian Johnson needs to wake up. You got Jalen Hurts. You got A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert. You got Kenny Gainwell, who disappeared after the first quarter. You got DeAndre Swift. What the hell are you doing with all these little quarterback runs? These quarterback design runs with Jalen Hurts. This isn't 2 years ago, buddy. You got Dallas Goedert. You didn't use him today. Dallas Goedert didn't get one target in this game. Are you kidding me? Dallas Goedert doesn't get one target. A.J. Brown ended up stacking up some catches in the fourth quarter. Devontae, had, what do you have, 7 catches? A.J. had 7. He still had 80 yards. A.J. Brown wasn't used for 85% of this game, and he still had a hell of a day. He had the best day of any Eagles wide receiver. And if you used A.J. in the first half, he probably goes for $150. My point is that this game should not have been nearly as close as it was. It should not have been this close whatsoever, and you cannot rely on this against a better team. The play calling was terrible. The play calling was absolutely terrible, and I got some questions about Sean Desai as well, if I'm being honest. I think Elliott Shore-Parks sums it up best here on Twitter. He says the play calling has been super conservative. That's the best word I can use to describe it. Conservative. This Eagles team has big hopes. This Eagles team is talented enough to make another run this season. In fact, they have to this season. They have to. So at the end of the day, you can't come out here and play like you don't want to reveal all your tricks. That's what I felt like watching this game. I felt like the Eagles had all these cool, pretty toys that they just got for Christmas, and they kept them all in their little bag. They didn't bring any out. Where was the creativity in this game? Where was the misdirection? Where was the guys in motion? None of it. None of it. They just played such a vanilla game plan, and it looked like they went out and ran the same 6 plays the entire game. And on the defensive side of the ball, man, one positive today was Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter was fantastic. I knew he would have an amazing game. I predicted him to have a breakout game in his first NFL game. He got his first sack near the end of the game, but he must have pressured Mac Jones at least 5 times that I can remember. He must have pressured Mac Jones 5 times. Ladies and gentlemen, let me say it loud and clear for you, okay? Jalen Carter is going to be an absolute stud. In fact, he already is after 1 game in the NFL. We saw 3 snaps in preseason. He was dominating. He did the same thing today. Now, again, the Patriots were down 3 offensive linemen, actually. If you take Riley Reif into consideration, they were down a starting corner. But what did Jalen Carter do? He absolutely dominated. That's what I like to see. I thought Desai brought a couple blitzes on 3rd down late in the game. Would I have liked to see more pressure? Yeah, but it was working. It was working in the first half. However, come 3rd quarter, the Eagles looked like they forgot how to tackle. You got Ezekiel Elliott out here making plays. I mean, in the first quarter, you jump right out of the gate and you go down, you score 3. It's pouring rain. I'll take the points at that point to begin the season. And then Darius Slay comes out and shot at the big play Slay, shot at the Howie Roseman for bringing him back to the squad. He makes a huge pick 6, 70 yards. On the next play, Zeke fumbles. It feels like the Eagles are about to blow this thing wide open, and they should have. They should have. But, man, I mean, everything went dead after the Eagles jumped up 16-0. Now, one player that I didn't even mention. Who's your player of the game? Give me your thoughts. My player of the game, ladies and gentlemen, is Jake Elliott, 1,020%. If the Eagles have another kicker in this game, they do not win the game. So let's give some kudos to Jake Elliott. Jake is back. Yes, Jake's leg is back. I mean, it was never gone. I mean, I want to get the exact on this. I know he had a 56-yarder. I think he had a 51-yarder. And what was it, a 47? I know I saved it somewhere, man. I know I saved it somewhere. Because I wanted to make sure I brought this up. What did he have? Where is it at? I don't even know where it's at. I know he had a 56, a 48, and I think a 51. Whatever it was, Jake Elliott was absolutely unbelievable today. Jake Elliott, to me, deserves game ball. Jake Elliott was incredible. 56-yarder. He's kicking these things when they matter most, when you absolutely need to go up another possession. Jake Elliott was great. He went 4 for 4. 56 was the long. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. You look at Jalen Hurts in this game. I thought Jalen Hurts played okay. I thought he played okay. 22 for 33. He had 170 yards and a touchdown. Again, I attribute a lot of that to play calling. I feel like they didn't open up the field at all. I feel like they were being very conservative. You look at Mac Jones, he had 54 attempts in the area, 316 yards, 3 touchdowns. I give the Patriots credit, for willing through. I give the Patriots credit for fighting back in this game where it looked like they were out of it early. But if you think about it, let's be honest here. Let's be honest. If the Patriots kicked that field goal early with 11 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and again, I'm watching a game. I don't know why Belichick did not elect to kick it. It felt like he was almost giving up. But if they kicked that field goal at the end of the game, it's only a 2-point game, and the Patriots end up taking the lead with a go-ahead field goal. They end up taking the lead with a go-ahead field goal. If Bill Belichick elects to kick that field goal early in the fourth quarter. So we can sit here and say we're happy and we celebrate a week 1 win, and I do think it's important, especially coming up on Thursday. The Vikings are going to be pissed off. They blew a game today to the Tampa Bay Bucks and Baker Mayfield. So the Eagles are going to have to bounce back quickly. They're going to have to forget about this, come up with a game plan in a couple days, and get back at it on Thursday night. And let me tell you something. The Vikings are a better team than the New England Patriots. I know they lost week 1, but they will come out here and give the Eagles a run for their money. And this was an aggravating game. I'm glad that they got the win. I thought Jalen Hurts was okay. I thought the rushing attack was okay. I thought Kenny Gainwell had a decent game. I feel like they went away from him after the first quarter. It felt like they finally started to throw the ball in the third quarter. A.J. Brown had 7 catches. I feel like he could have had 15 catches in this game. See, here's my problem. What do we talk about over the years when it comes to Eagle coordinators, right? It's about matchups. It's about taking advantage of the defense weaknesses, right? So you look at this team, what's going on with the Patriots? They're down their starting corner, really their only valid corner in Jack Jones, and they have a rookie, a guy with a welcome to the NFL type of moment waiting right there, a guy who was drafted in the first round, but let's be honest, was he really ready to go up against A.J. Brown? Probably not. Did you see how easy it was to get A.J. Brown the ball in the fourth quarter? Now, again, I will admit, Jalen Hurts missed some throws today. He missed some looks. I have no worries about Jalen Hurts. I have no worries at all. I know he will bounce back, get some of the rust off. I know Jalen will be fine. I just don't want him running the ball 12 times on design runs. What's going on with these QB draws, man? I don't understand. I saw some RPO, felt like there was just some, misconnection when it comes to, getting on the right wavelength with your receivers, with your running backs. It just felt like there was a little bit of rust there. I'm not worried about Jalen Hurts. What I'm worried about is the damn play call. That can't happen again. The Eagles were literally dead in this game for 2.5 quarters because their coordinators were just not functioning. Jalen Hurts had 9 carries in this game, 37 yards. I don't want him running the ball that much. And we'll get to the chat in a second, man. But, he had a nice touchdown to Devontae. AJ had a pretty nice game in the fourth quarter. It could have been used a lot more. I feel like the defense will come around. I feel like when it comes to safety, I think Reed Blankenship had a couple late plays that made up for earlier when he gave up a touchdown. Eagles gave up a bad touchdown in the fourth quarter. But, Slay had a decent game. Bradbury had a decent game. He got kind of banged up there at the end. Okay, fine. The linebacker core, let's talk about the linebacker core. This team might need some help at linebacker. I saw Zach Cunningham maybe once tonight. Nakobe Dean, I saw him miss a wide open tackle. The Eagles will have to get acclimated to their scheme, right? It's a first game for Sean Desai. I get it. And Jonathan Gannon wasn't a huge aggressor last year, but the Eagles were always getting pressure. Did they even sack Mac Jones once in this game? They sacked him. I know they didn't sack him until the fourth quarter. They did not sack him until the fourth quarter. They ended up getting a couple sacks. I knew Jalen Carter had one. I didn't know if anybody else did. Josh Sweat and Jordan Davis each with half a sack. You got to be able to get to Mac Jones. They're down 3 offensive linemen. You have to be able to get to Mac Jones in this game. It's just the fact of the matter. He's still pretty young, still pretty inexperienced. What were the Patriots doing? In fact, the Patriots were actually doing what the Eagles were doing. They were literally just biting off a little bit at a time. 1-2 yards on a play, couple yards, right? These little screen passes. And for some reason, the Eagles look like they've never defended against a screen pass in their life. Little screen for Ramondre Stevenson turns into a 30-yard bomb. I don't understand. This team is going to need help at linebacker. These guys looked all out of sorts tonight. They didn't look like they knew who they were covering. I mean, a little pre-snap motion. These guys are all out of sync. Zach Cunningham, Nakobe Dean, Christian Ellis. The Eagles might need some more help when it comes to linebacker. Howie Roseman already knows that. He's probably already on the phone. They're going to have to shore that up for sure. For sure. I want to see Hassan Reddick used in different, schemes in this defense. I want to see Hassan Reddick moving all over. I didn't even hear his name once tonight. I want to see Nolan Smith get in the mix. You have all these tools. And again, this goes for both sides of the ball. You have all these tools. You have to utilize them. There's no reason for the Eagles, who have maybe the best roster in the NFL, to not go out and run with all their weapons, right? And throw up a bunch of different looks for a young quarterback. So that's how I'm feeling, man. I watched the Niners today. They were going all which ways against Kenny Pickett. That's what I wanted to see from the Eagles, but hopefully we will get that going forward here. Let's go ahead and get over to the chat. Once again, give me your thoughts in the comments. Appreciate everybody being here. Be sure to subscribe to A to Z Philly wherever you are at. And let's get some of the thoughts here of the fans going in the chat. We'll pull up the chat here. What's your main takeaway from this game? Am I overreacting? Because again, this is the Eagles post-game show, but this is an interactive platform with the fans. That's why this is special. And I want to get the thoughts from the people. Am I overreacting? Should we be worried? Should we not care at all? What do we think? I thought the offensive line was actually a little shaky as well. I mean, let's be honest. Let's give some credit where it's due. The New England Patriots were bringing a lot of pressure, probably more than we'll see from most teams. We were seeing a lot of pressure. I even saw them blitzing corners at one point. Jalen Hurts probably has to make a few better decisions with the ball, but the Eagles' O-line was just a little bit overmatched in terms of personnel. They were a little overmatched at times. The Patriots just kept blitzing and blitzing and blitzing. I don't know exactly how much they did, but man, it got a lot at one time. And I just saw this here on Twitter as well. Jalen Hurts, it says, per Josh Tolentino, he says, Jalen Hurts walked across the locker room to thank every single defensive player at their stall for their effort in the second half. See, that's what a leader does. That's what a humble leader does. That's why I love and respect Jalen Hurts, because that's what a QB1 does. He walks over and he says, thank you for saving our ass. Thank you for saving our ass. And that's why Jalen Hurts will probably earn the respect, and already has, of every player in that locker room. A lot of things to correct, in my opinion. Let's go to the chat. Let's get some thoughts in here. We'll pull it up. Let's see. We got Connie Mack, Eagle fan, says Hurts has to stop running the design quarterback runs. He is best when he is escaping. Why take a chance unless he sees something or has a changeup? I saw a lot of design runs today. I didn't like it. I think Brian Johnson is most to blame for this lackluster play today. I think he has to get on it. He's got to get on top of it here. Brian Johnson has been in the system. He goes back with Jalen Hurts a little bit. He's the quarterback's coach. He worked directly every single day with Shane Steichen, right? He's got to have some things saved from that playbook. There's no reason, especially after sitting your starters in the preseason, that you come out and you run a vanilla game plan like that. That's my opinion on that. Donovan says he was getting the ball out pretty quick. Let's see. Chris says we need some help at linebacker because they can't tackle to save their lives. Hurts had more pressure than Jones today. He had a lot of pressure. A lot of pressure, man. A lot of pressure. Derek says we won the first game of the year. The sky is not falling. I agree with that. What do you think about Derek's comment? Do you agree or disagree? Is there anything to be concerned about? Should we be worried moving forward, or is it just one game? Because to be quite honest with you, I'm going to wait to see how Thursday plays out. Again, I'm happy to get the win. You played a scrappy game in the second half. You got out of there with a W, but things have to change, ladies and gentlemen. Chris says Evans needs to be switched with Sidney Brown. By the way, Sidney Brown made a huge play on special teams. Josh Jobe made a huge special teams play. I'll be honest, I was surprised that they went with Justin Evans over Terrell Edmunds. It felt to me like the consensus was that Terrell Edmunds was going to be the starting safety next to Blankenship, and they went with Justin Evans. I mean, overall, I don't think the safeties really did anything special today. I mean, Blankenship had a couple nice plays, but there wasn't really any playmakers like a CJ Gardner-Johnson, last year. Like, we knew week 1, week 2, like, okay, CJ is going to be special in this defense. False says, you're not overreacting. We were sloppy today. Donovan says, a little worried, honestly. Jalen is my guy, but he definitely missed a few wide open reads. There was one I remember. They were showing it on the broadcast where Dallas Goedert was about 20, 25 yards downfield. Jalen elected to go with the guy in front of him, and I think he ended up throwing it away, but Dallas Goedert was wide open. That's another thing I want to talk about because I'm a huge believer in getting your quarterback in a rhythm early in the game. I'm a huge believer in getting your quarterback going early in the game, and I feel like one perfect way to do that is to utilize Dallas Goedert. There is absolutely no reason in any Philadelphia Eagles football game that Dallas Goedert should have 0 targets. See this right here? 0. I don't understand. I don't understand how Dallas Goedert gets 0 targets in a football game. How? Christopher in the chat says, don't panic just yet. Let's see how Thursday goes. Not even Thursday is a good measure. I think the Vikings are a better team than the New England Patriots. I think the Vikings are a better team than the Patriots. I think it'll be a good test. Kirk Cousins always puts up numbers. By the way, you probably don't care, but my fantasy team's going off today. Thanks to Kirk Cousins. Thanks to Tyreek Hill. I'm so glad I drafted him. Thanks to Tyreek. Thanks to Chris Olave, my other receiver. I'm having a day in fantasy, ladies and gentlemen. I was going up against Justin Jefferson as well, and we're getting this W. Cord in the YouTube chat says DeAndre Swift only had 2 touches. Jason says, I'm glad I benched DeAndre Swift. Why did DeAndre Swift not get many touches in this game? Why did DeAndre Swift not get many touches in this game? 1 carry for 3 yards? What is the plan of attack? Maybe the Eagles just have to kind of sort through things here and figure it out, but they should already have a game plan in terms of allocation of touches. I mean, you threw it to DeAndre Swift out of the backfield, a couple times? 1 time, maybe? It felt like he wasn't even involved in this offense today. You went to Kenny Gainwell early on. You were letting him stack up some yards, and then you just go away from the running game, and DeAndre Swift doesn't even touch the ball. Boston Scott didn't even touch the ball. Burn in the Facebook chat says, this is what happens when starters don't play in preseason. You think that really affected them that much? You think that was the deciding factor? What do you think? Donovan says, are we at home or on the road? I believe we're at home again. I believe we're at home finally against Minnesota. Look, at the end of the day, man, the Eagles got to clean this up. Eagles got to clean this up. There's no reason that game should have came down to the way it did. The going for it on 4th and 2 cannot happen. You should have punted that down within the 10. Jalen Hurts cannot fumble that football. And again, you just can't play so lackadaisical coming down in the final minutes of a game. You got to get some pressure. But nah, the Eagles are just letting these guys catch. I mean, 1:05 left in the game. Mac Jones threw a ball. I didn't see one defender in sight. That can't happen. Wide open. I was like, is there really a minute left in this game? I've never seen a guy so wide open before. But the Eagles defense came through. They eventually made a play when they needed to, and they got the W. I need to see adjustments from Brian Johnson because it was bad today. Right now, Eagle fans are saying, Shane, come home. Shane, come home. Damn, man. Play calling was atrocious. Jason says, Jalen scares me with fumbles. I don't know if it's the rain or bad luck, but could not come at a worse time. And again, the play calling also attributed to that because Jalen should not be tucking it and running with 3 minutes to go in a game like that. I felt like there were so many times where, the pocket collapsed. The Patriots sent an extra man or two. Eagles O-line couldn't handle it. And then Jalen is just like, well, I got to get out of here. And he ran for a couple yards, but it was tough. It was tough to watch. Tough one to watch for sure. You look at these stats for the Patriots. Ramondre Stevenson, 25 yards on the ground. Zeke had 29. Their running game didn't get going at all. I thought Ramondre Stevenson would be utilized a lot more. He had a big play, 32 yards, but overall, he was pretty much neutralized. Mac Jones somehow willed this team back into it. And I just think, again, when you're going up against a team like this, you have to put on the pressure. You got to put on the pressure. You got to make them feel it, man. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at in this game. Jason says, close but got the job done. A win is a win. What do you guys think about that? Is a win just a win? Is there any cause for concern after this game? Should we be worried or should we give it time to kind of just chill out and be like, all right, we'll wait and see what happens on Thursday? Jalen Carter led the team in pressures. He had a sack at the end of the game. Jalen Carter was fantastic. I think without him, without Jake Elliott, the Eagles may not win this game. We got a quote here from Jalen Carter himself, actually. We got a quote from Jalen Carter in his NFL debut. He was asked about his sack on the last drive to seal the game and win it. He says, quote, "It was time for somebody to make a play." That's how you do it. That's how you do it. This dude is NFL ready. He is here. He is, you could see he's like a day one veteran. Jalen Carter is going to wreak havoc. I keep increasing my sack total when it comes to Jalen Carter. I think he's going to probably go for about 7 to 9 sacks. That's where I'm at this point. Now, again, the Philadelphia Eagles have all this talent. They need to put it together. They need to dominate their opponents because they can, especially when it comes to teams like the Patriots, because this isn't last year, okay? This is not 2022 where you had the Philadelphia Eagles and, they're not playing a lot of playoff teams in a regular season to begin, right? You might not go 8-0 to begin the season. You're going to have some tough tests coming up, and you're going to have to really tie things together here. You're going to have to clean it up immediately. And we're just holding this team to a higher standard because we know the talent that they have. We know that they have what it takes. They're capable of going all the way this year. I'm still waiting on some injury updates. I know Nakobe Dean ended up walking back out to the locker room. I think Fletch got hurt later in the game, and I know Bradbury got hit a little bit. Hopefully they're all okay. Right now, the Eagles came into this season starting week 1 healthy across the board. Last year, they were relatively healthy the entire season. They need to stay healthy. They need to stay healthy. I think my main takeaway from this game today is that it's not going to be all sunshine and rainbows. It's not going to be all pretty all the time. Every season is new, and you got to start at route one, like the Eagles players have been saying, right? You're back to square one. You're back to square one. And if you come out and you mess around, you're going to pay for it. You know what I mean? You're going to have, nail biters like this, which you should not have. I'm excited to see the link. I think it's going to be rocking. But if you come out and you don't take care of business, and if you go up 2 scores and don't put it away early, you're going to have games like this. It's one game. I'm glad to see the Eagles get a win. But I'm actually glad in a way that this kind of game happened against a lesser team like the Patriots, because it's a wake-up call, right? Don't mess around. Last year, the Eagles won a nail-biter against the Lions, and they woke up. They said, you know what? We have so much damn talent. We can't come out here and mess around. Hopefully, this kind of kicks the team into gear, and they go back for a couple days here, and it does suck playing on Thursday, I'll be honest with you, but maybe they take a step back and, they get the leaders of the team around, and they say, you know what? We're going to take care of business, right? That was just a kind of shake off the rust game. The coaches go back, they watch a lot of film, and they make the necessary adjustments. Again, I just think you got to get Jalen in a rhythm earlier. And I think you have to use your weapons. I feel like they put Dallas Goedert in their bag, and they didn't take him out for this game. And they didn't take A.J. Brown out to the fourth quarter. A.J. and Dallas can dominate any of these teams. Any. And that is a fact. That is a fact. Let your boys go to work. Let these hungry dogs go to work. Let them go to work, man. That's what you got to do. Again, I'm not going to make a declaration here about this team, but you got the win. You squeaked by, and it is what it is at this point. They know they got to play better. You might not start out 8-0, but damn it, you can start 6-2. If they go out and they dominate on Thursday night, I think everybody as a collective will say, you know what? Now they got it together, right? Now they got it together. We got Art in the Facebook says, coaching stunk. Where was the running game play calls from coaching? It could be a long season. And look, again, there's a lot of Eagle fans out there who are feeling the same way. They're sitting there saying, why was this as close as it was? Why did it feel like you didn't have a game plan going into this game? I think they'll get it right. But they have to quick, man. It's a quick turnaround. It's a quick turnaround. 6 pressures for Jalen Carter in this game, man. Unbelievable way to start out. And we have a quote here from Nick Sirianni, head coach of the Eagles, who says, I don't ever want to come out of a game where DeAndre Swift has 2 touches. I don't ever want to come out of a game with DeAndre Swift only touching the ball twice. Good. Thank you. See that right there, ladies and gentlemen? That makes me confident. Why? Because that's what I call accountability. We heard stories last year about how Nick Sirianni used to ream Jonathan Gannon. He used to go right at him. They used to go at each other behind the scenes. That's called holding your coordinators, holding your coaching staff, holding this team accountable. You got to hold this team accountable, man. You have high standards. You have to come out here and make sure everybody's on the same page. You have too many weapons. Derek in the chat says, we are spoiled. Well, you know what? The reason we're spoiled is because this team is very, very good. So you got to play up to that level that you have earned, which you now have respect for. You got to play up to the expectation, right? This Eagles team is not just cracking the playoffs. No, they have big aspirations. They have big aspirations this season. So they got to figure it out, man. They got to figure it out. The end of the game, I'll wipe the sweat off my forehead and I'll save my heartbeat. But hopefully Thursday looks a lot better because, man, again, I just think this game, I think the main message from this game should be, here's a reality check. If you don't come out and execute the way you should based on the talent that you have, it could be a long season. It could be a long season. We'll read a couple more comments in the chat. Once again, keep the chat flowing. Thank you all for being here. We'll be here halftime and postgame every single game. We'll be dropping a lot of videos, doing a lot of great things. Jalen Hurts here says, quote, winning is the only thing that matters. There are things we need to work on. I take full accountability for that. And that is what I just echoed. That's what I just echoed right there. Accountability. How will you galvanize the troops? How will you come back and bring things together and say, okay, maybe this wasn't our best performance, but, we can come out and correct it and we can still be a damn good football team. And I think they have the right leader in place who is going to lead them to that direction. I think a huge factor from last year's Eagles team is that nobody ever looked at each other and pointed the finger. Or nobody ever pointed the finger at themselves and praised themselves overly, hyping and saying, oh, well, I'm this, I'm that, I deserve this, I deserve that. No, this Eagles team doesn't have any of that. And I think that is a very special element for this team, for this franchise. So I think they have the right leaders in place. They have the right veteran leaders. For example, I saw a clip in this game where, who was it? I think it was Josh Jobe when he had that huge special teams hit. Fletcher Cox came running right over on the sideline because Josh Jobe got up and started to taunt the guy that he hit. He was celebrating. He was right in the guy's face. What did Fletcher Cox do? He came right over to him and said, no, get away, stop it. We're not stooping down to that. And I think that was huge from a vet like Fletch. I think that was huge. Shane in the chat says we had 1 sack and they had 2 backups playing. They had 3 backups playing on the O-line. Like I said, Sean Desai's got to get more pressure on Mac Jones. I thought overall the defense played solid, but I agree. I'm a guy who likes to be aggressive. And I think with as much talent as this Eagles team has, again, last year they had 70 sacks and we still got on Gannon weekly because he wasn't aggressive enough. You have so much talent on this D-line. I thought Mac Jones was going to get sacked 7 times today. I thought he would come out with all kinds of bruises and cuts in this game, and the Eagles really couldn't get near him. And they were playing back, and they were playing off their men. And again, with 3, 2, 1 minutes to go, Patriots receivers are wide open. Wide open. Can't happen. Can't happen. So hopefully this Eagles team gets it together. They got to look forward, man. Quick turnaround. Got to forget about this game. Got to draw up a game plan. You are playing on Thursday night prime time with the entire world watching. And guess what? You're going up against a Minnesota team who is coming back off a very bad loss. Very bad loss. Connie says, I don't use Facebook. Look, everybody, if you're in here, man, come over, join the YouTube page. Join the YouTube page, A to Z Sports Philly. Go subscribe to that. Keep on supporting and keep on coming around, man, because we will be doing this every single week. We'll be dropping a ton of content. But nonetheless, obviously a more negative show here today, but I mean, I feel like it caused that. I feel like this game caused that. I don't know any Eagles fan out there that can say they're happy with how they played today. You can be happy with the result, but there's a lot of adjustments that need to be made. At the end of the day, great to get a week 1 win and always good, always positive to start your season out on a good note. But there is a lot that needs to be worked on. And I personally will be listening to the things that are said over the next day or two. And most importantly, how they come out Thursday and kind of switch things up and shuffle it a little bit. Because if you play the way that you did on Thursday night, you are going to be in for a real reality check when the Minnesota Vikings come in and they hand you a loss. So that's where I'm at, and we will see how it looks moving forward, but appreciate everybody and all of your thoughts in the chat. Is the Eagles post-game show, very interactive. We get the thoughts of the people. A to Z Sports Philly. Follow us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, and keep on coming around, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We'll shout some people out here. Shane in here. I see Byrne. I see Connie, Mac. I see Derek. Shout out to everybody in the chat tonight. And we will keep it flowing as we move forward, man. But that being said, appreciate everybody for tuning in. The Eagles get a week 1 win, and they take down the New England Patriots by the skin of their teeth. 1-0, moving on to the next one. And we will see how they come out in 4 days. So shout out to BetMGM for sponsoring tonight's show. Once again, download their app. Use bonus code ATOZPA when you sign up, man. Go get your boost. Go get your free bets. Go check them out. A to Z Sports Philly, man. RB in the house. And I will catch you all very soon.